What's up, guys? There's been some more news in Limbus company. The first one was a bug. So when a unit died from skill's use effect, it would cause the game to freeze. I've never encountered this, but apparently it's there. For Steam version, the fix should be applied by the end of the day. And for Android and iOS, we'll have to wait until March 30th because there's like issue with publishing updates. Like you cannot do it immediately. It has to be like go for a screening process, so they cannot like just hotfix it today. They have to wait until March 30th update for it to happen. So, and as for compensation, we are getting 300 lunacy and free tickets, which is slightly over 5 pulls. And it is claimable in mail after the update on March 30th. Next change is the change of passive activation. So on April 6th update, they are planning on changing some passive abilities to just activate more frequently and just overall easier to activate. In my opinion, yeah, that's a good change. I feel like some passives are hard to proc. And I don't know, I just feel like you should be utilizing them more often. I think they're relatively minor to the point where you can probably make them be proccable every turn or something without much issues. So yes, I again, like making it easier to proc them, I'm all for it. The next notice was about the Dawn Ego telepole. We talked about it before, and they changed the date again from April 1st to March 30th. So again, after the update next week, we'll have the Ego on the banner, or it will be added to the banner list. The next thing they dropped was a picture of characters. I don't know who they are. If you are deep into games and you know the lore and story, you probably recognize them and know them. All I gathered was some lion and wolf, but I don't know who they are, so I'm not gonna even talk much about it. To me, this just looks like versions of units we have. So like the one on the right looks like Gregor. The middle one maybe Sinclair, and then on the left maybe like Rodian or something. So I'm not sure if those will be playable identities or enemies. No idea. Okay, on to the last and probably the most important news. The Refraction Railway. So this is the new Endgame content we talked about, and it will go live on April 6th. So nothing changed here. So they give more information how it will work exactly. So we'll have 13 stages to go through during that month, and each stage will have a first time clear reward, and you will also get a special banner if you clear the whole event, the whole 13 stages. So, and depending on your turn, like how many turns you took total throughout those 13 combats, you'll get better banners. So onto the Refraction Railway. So it will be unlocked after 322 in main story, and it will replace the Thread Luxcavation. As you see, the Thread Luxcavation will be moved to the top one, so both EXP and Thread Luxcavations will be combined in one button. I mean, they're still separate stages. Their button is just combined. into one place, and Refraction Railway will take the bottom one. Now the event, because it's treated as event, it will be open for 4 weeks, so from April 6th to May 4th, and you can choose a number of identities and egos when you go into it. We still don't know how many, and all of the level ups and all of the identities or egos, so any progress you make with those will not be reflected on your team in Refraction Railway. So for example, if you put level 25 Faust into your team and you start doing them, and I don't know, you stop halfway, you go back and you start farming maybe excavations, you level up Faust to level 30. When you go back to Railway, she will still be 25. So it saves the status of your egos and your units when you enter it, when you enter the clear, the current run, and after that any changes are not reflected. So you will have to either finish the run or just exit the run and start the new one, and then you will see those changes reflected. So just something to keep in mind. Now for the rewards, like I said, there will be one-time rewards after you clear every single stage, and they will be sent to something they call Lost and Found. Now Lost and Found, to access those rewards, you will have to spend some modules for it, and you only have to spend it once. So basically you have to unlock Lost and Found, access to Lost and Found with your modules, and after that for the whole month you can just grab the rewards without any additional costs. So it's a one-time fee for the month. I don't know why you even have to pay. It's so weird to me that you have to pay energy to receive the reward. Why not just give them to us? I don't understand the energy cost here. It doesn't really serve any purpose in my head, so I don't know why. And also just be careful or mindful. Just because it says here -10 doesn't mean it is actually gonna cost 10 modules. They did the same thing with Thread Excavation and EXP Excavation. It said 10 energy, and then obviously the costs are way higher. It's 40 energy for the stage 3. Well, for all of them now, I guess, after the update, but still. So just keep in mind that this might change the number here. Okay, so about the combat. So it's a little interesting what they did here. So every combat will be the abnormality combat, meaning you will be able to directly point which skill goes to which body part and which enemy, right? So even if you're fighting human enemies, which I'm assuming you will, you still have the abnormality system, okay? Which is good, because that's the more interesting one. The human one is, it's not interesting at all, right? It's literally just auto for the most part, with your additional input. So, to me, the abnormality is way more interesting. Now, the health, sanity will carry over the stages, right? But if a unit did not participate in combat, they will fully recover their HP and sanity. So, to me, what it means is you probably will have to have 2 teams and just keep swapping between them. We don't know how many units we'll have, so that might not be possible. I have doubts that they will allow you to bring 10 units in. So let's assume they allow maybe 7 units for you to bring. 5 will be in combat and 2 will be benching. I think The strategy probably will be to use the main squad, and if someone gets low or like in dangerous situation, then you swap them out for one of the two on the bench and let them rest for one combat so they get full, and then you go back to your main team, right? That's what I think will be the strategy. Also, resources carry over, the ego resources, so affinities, meaning probably you should stockpile on them early on while the fights are easier, most likely, and let the resources stay for the later ones that, you know, are harder, or maybe for this combats that you or your team composition might struggle with, so you can clear it faster in terms of turns. So also, if your unit dies, it will be unavailable for the rest of the expedition, which, yep, we already knew that. Also, when you lose the battle, it will take you to the point right before entering stage. So if I enter stage 4, for example, and I failed it, it will bring me back to before I entered stage 4. So basically you can just retry the stage, which is good because that means, I'm assuming you can exit the fight as well, which will be treated as a loss, in which case you will be able to just, if something goes terribly wrong in the combat or you didn't like the RNG, you should be able to exit that stage and retry that stage. Meaning, I previously thought that if something goes wrong in one of the stages, you'll have to restart from 0. That doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like the only thing you'll have to restart is that specific stage. The only time where you would go all the way back is if you got to the end and you realize, okay, I didn't save enough affinities for this fight, or my units were not healthy enough. It wasn't last combat I messed up, it was the whole thing. I had a wrong strategy going into it, and then it makes sense to restart the whole thing. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, you can again choose to start over from any previous stage, and it will bring you back to that like specific point. It basically saves your status of your like HP, sanity, resources. So it saves everything when you enter every single stage, so you can hop back in time if you really want to. So let's say if I got to stage 5 and I decided, okay, I need more of this affinity and I messed up somewhere, I can go back to maybe like stage 2 or something and go from there, right? Like if I thought that I messed up somewhere here instead of like previous stage. So you can go back, not from the very start. So if you liked maybe stage 1 and 2, you thought you cleared them well, but after that you didn't clear too well, you can go back to just stage 3 and start from 3 instead of starting from the very start. So I don't know how useful it is, but it's nice to have it for sure. And also, again, like you cannot modify your team midway through the expedition. So yeah. Alright, on to the next part, last part. So it will record your runs. It will display how many turns it took to clear the content, and the least amount will be your first place. You'll be able to see the damage composition and the units you used. And this is obviously only showing your own stuff, so this is not a leaderboard or anything like that with other players. This is just you. And now for the banners, you will be able to receive the basic banner if you just basically clear the event. It says if you don't exceed 999 turns, but I can't imagine anyone exceeding 999 turns. So it basically means as long as you clear, you get the banner, the normal one. The decorative one you get if you finish it in specific turn amount, and the third one you get if you clear with the certain amount of turns and you clear it in the first week. So this is the important part. To get the best banner, you have to clear it in first week of the event, meaning from April 6th to April 13th, and you have to do it under the specific turn limit. I'm not sure why that's the case. I thought it will be just stricter on turn number, and that's it, and you just have the month. I don't know why restrict to first week of the event. Like, if someone doesn't have much time to play at the start, then I don't know. I just don't quite understand why restrict. Is this to like counter guides and stuff, so people don't have time to figure out the best strategy, and so everyone can get the... I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. We don't know the turn order yet, like how many turns for each of those banners, so we can only see that like 50 here gave this banner, so at least it should be 50 plus, and here 128, at least 128 plus, but we don't know the exact numbers, and those numbers are how many turns it took for your clear when you get the banner. So when the event finishes, it will take your best run, so in this case 23 turns, right? And it will embed the number onto the banner. So each banner will be unique in a way, I guess. So like when other people go and see you, they will see, oh, this guy cleared it in 50 turns. But then they go to someone else and they see 23. And they're like, holy hell, this guy cleared it in 23 turns. So I guess it's cool bragging system, but I don't really care too much about it. So it doesn't really matter to me, but there it is. And that's pretty much it for the changes or upcoming changes. We'll probably know more about the railway when the patch notes come out in like 2 weeks. Yeah, in 2 weeks. So we'll see more during that time. But that's it from me, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.